Anyway, everyone, we're
Good
here.
evening.
Minus what the StreamYard to YouTube time set. My time is always 6:30, so whatever to that. Um, I'm also DL to read the Mistress of Horror, and you know what we do over here. We talk about all the things scary, so I can keep you scared. And I have with me tonight the awesome Colin Clark. Colin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let people know what's up with you.
Hello, tis I, Colin Clark, and I'm a writer, author, tuber, and audiobook narrator. I write horror and I write various genres, and in fact, most of them have some little bits of horror in them all, even my kiddies'
Yes,
books. So, yeah, and I'm really happy to be here tonight with the awesome Mistress of Horror. I'm on
I'm
my
happy to
best
have you.
behavior.
I'm happy to have you. It's talking about horror always. I have to like try to calm myself down because then I'll just be rumbling forever. I'll run on for a long freaking time. So like I've like calm myself down, make the schedule, be like, let's try to stick to it. Let's, I'm gonna try to do my best to stick to it, but you know we'll see what happens. But we'll see. Let's see who is here, all in the chat. I will pull up all my documents in a second here. Let's see who we got here. Barrett, yay! Hello, Barrett. Thank you for coming, Aphrodite. Got my notification for this is on, but you know it says in 2 hours. I know because thank you for like I said, StreamYard the YouTube time. Since I'm not a paid StreamYarder, they don't give me the
Mhm.
option to go in my settings and change it to my time zone. Like forget that. So they automatically have it set to CDT, and I specifically put 6:30. And if I put an hour to match their time, which is CDT, it still throws it off no matter which way I do it. So
Mhm.
no winning for me. So I try to tell everyone, listen to the mistress. If I say 6:30, it's 6:30 no matter what that says. Okay. Yes, Colin, good
Yes,
to
tis
go.
I, Aphrodite. Hello again.
Hello, Mama Maggie.
Maggie's here.
Cool Gamer. Sam. Hello. Yep. Everybody saying hey. Yep. So we have some fun topics for tonight, everyone, as we always like to do before we get into Colin's awesome story that he has to
Eek. Yeah.
tell. AF Stewart, hey, thanks for joining. Another horror sister in the house here. All right, let's see. Do. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. So the first topic we have is, as a reader and a viewer, what draws you to a horror story and a horror film? So, what do you think, Colin? What draws you to I guess a book and also a film when
Mm,
you are
I
looking
think
for
there's a
horror?
similarity between them. I mean, story, I think what I'm looking for to pull me in, not pull me in, to get me to buy or pick up a story
Yeah,
to start with, is I'm looking for something familiar,
yes,
and I'm looking for a character there that shows me some sort of, I don't know, uh, contact with what I've experienced. So, and the example I thought, if you think of It, the book,
yes,
which I agree with you, could have been a bit shorter, but if you're
just a
looking
bit,
at the
just a little bit.
kids in It, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was bullied as a kid. I was
Yes,
little and fat. I was an outsider. So that to me, they've got me from the start with
from
that.
that, yep, the full one,
Yep.
yep,
And from there on in, it's what happens to those characters. It's the tone. The tone of the book seems to just change. And most good horror stories do. They'll lull you in and
yep,
you'll be happy with the kids and you'll be following the kids. And then suddenly something will just, there's an inequality of power in it. I mean, it's between the big bad
yep,
and the losers. And basically, it's that inequality of power, I think, is central to most horror stories. It's you've got something that's all powerful, and you've got something, if they come together as a team,
yep,
or you have some sort of gift like The Shining, you
yep.
can then change things for the good, but there's going to be no happy ending. And I like that in a horror story. That's what draws me in. It's the promise of the premise, if you want to put it that way.
Right, I
Um,
feel that.
Found
I,
family. That's another aspect of it I like.
yep,
Horror. I mean, if you look at most zombie horror stories,
yeah,
you'll find found family there because most of their families have eaten the rest of them. So,
yeah, really though.
yeah, I mean, so that and film, books and film, if it's got mythology in, cosmic horror,
Yeah, yeah,
something ancient that has to be discovered.
Yes.
a mystery element
Mm-hmm.
to it, yeah, that's going to draw me in every
Every
time.
time. Yep.
Hmm.
I have to agree. That's very true. Very good elements to draw you in. I would say myself, um, usually the kind of creature that's going to be inhabiting the story.
Hmm.
Um, I'm more partial to non-human horror. I call it. Usually, that means that the bad guy or villain or whatever creature,
Hmm.
and it's going to be probably more on the supernatural side of things than humans fighting humans. So usually, I will be more drawn to a horror movie that's any kind of creature. Like I just the other day I watched on I think it was on Shutter, old classic horror movie Alligator. Like it's just a
Hmm.
giant alligator that's like was little and got flushed down the toilet and then goes into the sewer and then the sewer has like toxins or whatever and it gets really really big and then somebody's in
Hmm.
the sewer at one point and then they get eaten and then it's a big deal and then it's busting out and it's eating people and stuff like that, swallowing people whole. You're like, oh. So it's like those type of things. Like it was a monster of any kind, I'm really into it because I want to see what the monster's going to do.
Hmm.
So that's always like a pull for me. I've watched plenty of the ones that's human horror, but I really like that will pull me in if
Yeah.
like I want to know what the monster is.
Well, that's it. My favourite movies. I'm sorry, but I mean the ones I've been watching over the past few weeks. It's the
Yeah,
Hammer House of Hammer horror, and
yeah,
also T-Gon movies and Amicus movies. And
yeah.
tonight I was actually watching. Oh come on, what's it called? I was watching it. Just the Blood Beast Terror, I think it's called. It's the one where the guy manages to combine a girl and a death's head moth.
Oh shit! It's almost
Yeah,
like the Centipede movies
yeah.
with
But
that
I mean,
weird dude sewing
it's
people together and crap.
made in the 60s, so yeah, you're not going to get that sort of realism, but it's quite a
But that's
fun watch.
okay. Horror, you can go back and watch it, no matter how old
Hmm.
it is. You know what I mean? It's just that classicness that you get. Even if sometimes you get what's the B horror movies they call them. But sometimes you're in
Yeah,
the mood for B horror. You know what I mean? And you just want to watch it just because it's fun to watch.
yeah.
So
Some of them are funny anyway,
they are
without
extremely
without
funny.
meaning to be.
Without
That's the
meaning to
point.
be. I mean, they might be taking themselves serious in a lot of cases, and you're sitting there cracking up like, oh, it happens. But yeah, I'm also drawn to like the type of horror, like I said. So if I see something that's like, oh, this new, like you saying, like it's a cosmic horror, I want to check it out, see what's going on. I want to see what they did with it, like how
Mhm.
twisted can it get, type of situation. So that's definitely a draw for me. And when it's books though, like I'm always like the covers can kind of pull me in a lot of times
Forgot
because
to
they
mention the cover. Yeah, that was the
yeah, the
obvious
covers
starting
really can
point.
pull
Yeah.
me in. I don't have to see a monster on the cover per se, but it's kind of like the atmosphere of the cover can kind of make you look twice, which then can make you read the bio or whatever,
Mhm.
and then that could pull you in depending on the wording that they're giving out. Just enough just to pull me in if it sounds creepy or something bad's going down, and I want to check it out. So that's usually that's usually general consensus for me. Let's see what everyone else is saying in the chat. I'm sure Aphrodite is probably going to say Bambi, but she tends to say that every time. Bambi is very scary for her. All right. Aphrodite says she is excited to hear you read because everyone likes to hear you read, Colin. Um,
Mm.
what draws me in as an actor who I love has decided to be in a horror film. Sometimes I'm worried about that. Sometimes I'm like, they're going to get killed. It's going to be over for
Mhm.
them. That's it. Like, depending on the actor, some of them don't sign up to die. They're like, nah, I'm not getting killed. And that's not happening.
Yeah, that's
Like
it.
LL Cool J when he was in the shark movie, the one with the had the super smart sharks in it, Deep Blue, so the Deep Blue Sea. And
Oh, I
I think
don't know. I haven't seen that one.
what's his name? Yeah, LL Cool J was in it, and there
That's
was that the
Jason Statham in it.
I think I can't
Not
remember
called
else.
the Mega, is it, or something
Not
like
the
that?
mega. This one's like the Deep Blue Sea or the fuck ever, and it had what's his name in it? I think Samuel Jackson was in the first one, but then it's had sequels. But he was in the first one. He gets killed. Actually, Samuel got killed. Like he'll be in every movie. He don't care if he dies. But like he got killed. But LL Cool J did not. And I think LL Cool J probably was like, if I die in this, I'm not being in it. He probably had one of those kinds of contracts because he
Mhm.
certainly looked like he could have got destroyed any time. But he was like the chef on the station because it was like one of those underwater stations or whatever, and
Mhm.
they had the sharks there, and they were like enhanced sharks or whatever, and they got loose, and then they started killing everybody. But so it was LL Cool J was one of those ones that's like people like
Yeah.
me, and I'm not getting killed. So I got a no kill contract. He had the armor on that we like to see. Some of the actors have on in
Yeah,
movies.
well, Drew Barrymore got killed at the beginning of the first Scream, didn't
Right, she
she?
did. I guess she
That
didn't
shocked me
care.
at the time. Yeah.
Right, like girl didn't even have that long of a part. Like it was over for her. I
Hmm.
was like, wow, I didn't expect that. Kill Drew off so quickly. It's ridiculous. After I said, just kidding. I like to see who survives and how. And my stuff, sometimes you don't survive. Uh, or why they survived, right? I don't know. Ain't nobody surviving. Mythos draws and interests me, especially if it's animals, like something native to the setting
Hmm.
and not anywhere else, says Sam. Uh, and evil abandoned pet turtles. That's always a good one. After that, oh, I remember that movie. I'll watch a monster tale over a demonic, ghostly movie in a heartbeat. Yeah, I know you'll watch a monster one. I know you definitely wouldn't be watching Deep Blue Sea because sea creatures. RC said Christopher Lee is the best Dracula.
Absolutely, RC.
Classic there, yeah. B horror movies are going to comedy for me sometimes. It can really be. That's why we're there for it, you know. You cannot pay me to watch ghosts or inanimate objects being possessed or anything similar to that. Oh, and kids. Nope, I'm out. So no Children of the Corn for you then. No Children of the Corn.
Yeah,
Then
it's
there's
sort
the
of like
Toxic Avenger.
most of the movies of the 80s. You're going to miss out on somewhere there.
I was going to say, really, though. Toxic Avenger. Yeah, I remember Toxic Avenger. Deep Blue. Yes, Thomas Jane. Yeah, Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane is literally must be, even though they won't admit it, Christopher Lambert's cousin because he looks just like Christopher Lambert. Like I swear, Thomas Jane's related to Christopher Lambert. I used to have a crush on Christopher Lambert back in the day, and then Thomas Jane showed up, and I was like, "Whoa, we got a whole new Christopher Lambert to look at." So, like, he's definitely like a Christopher Lambert copy. Because I was a big Highlander fan. So I've watched all Highlanders, and I grew up with Highlander, and Christopher
Yeah, I like the
Lambert was
movies.
the
I've never
Highlander.
watched the TV series.
Yeah, I watched both. Christopher Lambert did make an appearance in the show at one point, but it's
Hmm.
like you got Duncan and both of them. So, but yeah, I watched all the movies and the show. And I was a big leaning Lambert Highlander over Duncan, though Duncan is hot as well, so I wasn't angry, but I still was like, yeah, I'm over the Christopher Lambert Highlander. Yeah, LL Cool J did live. Yes, he did. I'm drawn to the bleak. Yeah, and the start of horror. Yep, I blame Lovecraft. Lovecraft is good. I love Lovecraft. You know that. It
Yes,
probably
as
wasn't
do
a
I.
good to read. Yeah, that's right.
Evidence.
Yeah, Tales of the Cold One. Yeah, wasn't a good to read his
Favorite
stuff as
T-shirt
a
at the
kid.
moment. This one.
Yeah, it probably wasn't a good thing to read. Probably an angsty teenager. Maybe not. I don't know. I read it when I was a teenager. It bothered me, but I wasn't angsty, so that's probably why. Sam said the bird survived too. I think. Yeah. I think the bird almost survived because the bird seemed like the bird was gonna survive, and then the bird went to fly, and he was like, "How did you not get killed yet?" And then the shark jumps up and gets the damn bird. I'm like, if you get something that's in the water or grounded in your bird and you died, then you deserve it. Sorry. So I think the bird actually got killed like right before the end. I don't know if the bird made it. I believe not. That shark movie was so dumb, almost as bad as Tusk. A lot of shark movies are considered quite dumb, but that's not why we're there. We're there just to see the shark eat people. Let's admit it. Especially when like the people were down in the water at one point. The one guy was in the water, and then shark goes like, "Oh, the female chick makes it to almost the end. Like she makes it right at the end. It's LL Cool J, her, and Thomas Jane." And I was like, "Oh yeah." Well, she's a scientist. It's kind of her fault situation, so she might have been just karma coming forward, probably what they were trying to go for. And she was like, she wanted the sharks to survive because she does not right to kill the specimen. Like it's your fault. You made them super, okay? So she's in the water and she's supposed to be. I think Thomas Jane is the professional that works with sharks and sea life and stuff. So he swims with them and all that shit. So she's in the water. She thinks she can dodge the shark. So she's like in it. She's trying to get back up because they're trying to set off so they can like kill the sharks and blow them up or whatever. And the shark goes like, because the sharks can't swim a certain kind of way, but these can because of
Mhm.
the super enhanced. So shark goes like that, boom, comes to the side and gets her just like that. And then they put Thomas Jane in the same position, and then shark goes like this, and boom, and he does the toss flip, whatever, in the water because he's a professional and does stuff with them. So he like flips over, don't get him. I was like, damn, they did her dirty, man. They did her dirty. So she
Yeah,
totally
I
got
think
that
that's
one.
probably why I haven't watched it. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the usual shark stuff. Like if you watch Jaws and all those things, like you know what you're getting into when you get a shark movie.
Mhm.
There's no, you know what you're getting. It's just like, oh, the sharks are killing people quickly, type of situation. So it's whatever.
Well,
Just stay out of
apparently,
the water. It's not that big a deal.
Sharknado made a ton of money. Apparently, so.
I can't even with that. Like the sci-fi original, like when they started going this low off the deep end, I'm like, Sharknado? Are we?
Mhm.
Is this happening? Aphrodite's worst nightmare. Like sharks flying through the air. That's a big no-no. Scream. Dawson's Creek with knives. Technically, it is. Scream pretty much is Dawson Creek with knives. Um, I follow Christopher Lambert on ID. He's awesome. Yeah, Christopher Lambert's always been awesome. I liked him as Raiden in Mortal Kombat back in the day. Yeah, Highlander TV says I actually own that stuff. I saw a screen because my boyfriend Jerry O'Connell decided he could be in it, and I had to see it. Yeah, one of her many boyfriends. Love Christopher Lambert, Highlander. Christopher Lambert was the man. I love the Highlander. I love Immortals, stories about immortals and shit. I like a good monster book, and I like a bad monster book almost as much, right?
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
indicate. With horror, you can't. Like, you can't lose a horror. Like, is there bad in horror? As long as somebody got eaten, destroyed, or whatever, you got what you
yeah.
came for. That's
That's
it.
it. You
We
played
came
the
for the blood.
NCC.
We're here for the blood. Said, oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to survive. I wanted it to survive, so I just blocked out its death scene. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. The bird almost made it. I mean, it wasn't much to gore to happen with the bird, but that crocodile movie actually got me. Gator, or whatever. It actually got me pretty good. 'Cause I was like, wow, these murder scenes are really good. I mean,
Mhm.
it was hiding in the trash at one point, and the dude was like, in there with like a rifle, like, is it in here? Obviously, this guy does not know the habit of gators, and he's like, and then it comes out, he's like, "Pa!" and his gun goes off, and then the screen switches over to the black guy. The black guy's looking from behind the wall like that, and he's like, "Ah!" And this guy on by his side, it's halfway in his mouth, and the dude, I'm surprised the other dude runs over there, picks up the gun, tries to shoot the gun, but then the gun isn't working anymore. So then
Mhm.
he runs away, and the dude's like, getting completely swallowed by this alligator. Like, I was like, whoa, they're showing it. So all the blood, and I was like, this is pretty good for an old movie. What's
That's it.
going
Yeah,
on here?
it reminds me of the other one, Lake Placid. That's quite
Yeah, Lake
funny.
Placid, I seen those. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, Lake Placid was
With
good.
Betty White in as the woman who feeds them.
Right?
Yeah.
Listen, Betty White. I love me some Betty White though.
Mhm.
As I said, no, the people were fucking dumb for thinking that it was just a good damn idea. You're not wrong, Aphrodite. I will admit Samuel Jackson's death had me laughing my ass off. Yeah, he was like, "We're going to listen." Everybody was fussing, and they had this big open hole where the shark could jump out. So that was their diving hole in most regular situations, and they had a problem with that section because they were trying to put the sharks. They would put the sharks back in that way after they did like giving them their drugs and whatever.
Mhm.
He's standing. Everybody who watched this movie knew what was going to happen. You see Samuel standing in the hole, and everybody's fucking. He's like, "Hey!" and yells and gets everybody's attention. Like, listen, we're going to find a way to get out of here. So the first thing we're going to do is and the shark comes up. The shark jumps out and grabs him right down into the water while he's mid speech to like, because he goes like, "We need to stick together," and blah 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 blah. And then he goes like, "So the
Splat.
first thing we're going to do is cover this hole." Shark said, "I don't think so." And jumps out and grabs him. I'm like, "See, Sam, should have kept that mouth shut, my boy. Should have kept that mouth shut." Sharks do not act like the sharks do in Jaws, but in Deep Blue, they were a suspension of belief element that made it work because they fiddled with the shark's DNA. Exactly true. True. Because the Jaws sharks, they weren't bothered. They were just supposed to be like regular sharks. And but that's
Mhm.
like sharks don't be like, "I'm getting some revenge. I'm coming for you." Like, stop. They not people. They're not people. Give it a rest. I will say Jaws movie is much better than the book. I don't say that lightly. It's really not surprising. Like
Well,
they try to get
the
that
score
feel.
for Jaws, the movie, is
Yeah.
that sells it on its own.
Right
Superb.
though. Okay, would you ever eat a shark to Aphrodite?
Have done. Very nice.
Yeah, that tastes good. I'm allergic to seafood, so nope. Yeah, she can't eat it. So see, I mean, she's allergic to it too because she don't like it. So see. her body's like no all the time.
Mhm.
I think the Exorcist movie was better than the novel. I've heard that quite a many a time. But
Yeah.
go either way, I guess.
I found I didn't finish the novel, so yeah, I'd agree with that.
Got DNF'd. You know. To be honest, is Walking Dead really horror? Horror
Yeah.
anymore, or just urban grimdark? Like zombie horror can be, but until they make it into a show, they make
Mhm.
zombie horror to a show. They don't know when to let it go, and since they were making so much money on Walking Dead, they kept it going when they should have stopped. With
Mhm.
horror, you have to know when you need to stop, and if you go on too long, it's no longer scary. It's no longer tense. It's no longer creepy. All the elements of being afraid are leaving slowly as you go on and on
Mhm.
and on and on. And the more information you give, the less scary it is. Because
Which
once
is
you
where it
explain,
falls down as a book, really,
of
is
course, because
because
it's
he just
like
carries it on too long.
you keep telling everybody everything. You find out every single detail. What's scary once you know all the information?
Mhm.
Like, unless it's something like, oh, I know as much information as possible, but there's nothing I can do. Like, that's not going to be the case if you keep just running on and on. So of course, and then and Walking Dead, they went on and on too much about the people. Like, is this a
Mhm.
fucking drama, or are we like? It was fine if it was a horror drama, but once we leave the zombie aspect and we keep going into the human issue aspect,
Yeah,
like
it's
them
just
not
like,
getting along, it's like
Lost with dead people, basically.
right, the dead people are there, but we're really here for what's going on between the living people. Like that's what the problem. I stopped watching Walking Dead after like season 2, maybe 3. I'm like, all right, this is enough of
Yeah,
this.
I stopped. Well, actually, I stopped really the minute I realised how much I detested that kid. So, yeah, I couldn't watch it anymore after that. And Rick got on my nerves. He was whining a lot. So, yeah.
But yeah,
No.
Rick was getting a little tiring. I screamed so loud when Samuel was killed. I was shocked to the core. I'm
Oh,
surprised
dear.
you watched that, Aphrodite. That's what I'm shocked at because, like, really, sea creatures?
Zombie days of our lives.
Right? It really was, though. It really was. No lie. Eating sharp many times tastes like cheese.
I disagree with that, but okay.
I love it. I prefer a psychological, supernatural thriller type of horror. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. On
Hmm.
that because yeah, those are all they always get you with those. Hey, Adrian, you made it.
Yay.
Why has anyone written a story from the zombies POV, the walking animated? They have,
They
but
did
usually,
Warm Bodies. That
yeah,
was one
Warm
of those,
Bodies was
wasn't it?
like they did like a romantic has into the zombie aspects of it. There is some other ones though. I can't remember the name. It was another one we did, but a lot of time they're really shorts when they do
Hmm.
them. It was one where the woman's husband was a zombie, so it was kind of doing it from his
Was
perspective
that
a lot of
I
times.
Zombie? There was one called I Zombie, wasn't there? I
Yeah,
saw
I
that a lot.
Zombie as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few that they've done. It's been done, but like it's always interesting for me, period, to see a perspective, a story from a monster's perspective. Hence why I write a lot from
Hmm.
the monster's perspective in my horror. But yeah, like the zombies, and I think Warm Bodies did it pretty well. I
Hmm.
think it was interesting. Also, there's a lot of people who I'm into K dramas. I only really watch like Asian TV, and there's a um there it was on Netflix. I don't know if it's on there anymore, but it was called Happiness. Funny. It's called Happiness, and it's a zombie drama. So it's got like 12 episodes or whatever, and it's zombie esque, like the virus that breaks out in people. So the people go in and out of their zombiness. So like they get
Right.
thirsty is a sign that they're infected. So they need water. So they need to drink a lot. So if you see a person chugging water a lot, get away from them. They're going to be thirsty for your blood soon. So, and especially if also, let's say they are a person that your significant other and they're sexually attracted to you, it's going to be harder for them to resist the thirst even more around you. So a lot of
Jesus.
those type of instances. So they go in and out. Like I say, the person, a lot of these people in this story eat people. Like they'll eat them and kill them, but then they'll wake up from their episode and then they'll hide the body and they'll like feel guilty that they killed the person because they weren't in control of themselves. They were just hungry, right? And then you'll be like, they'll be like, I'm good. I'm fine. What you mean? Like, dude got blood like all over his shit. Like, you not fine. What you talking about? Get away from me, you know? So like those instances, so that from that show is also from kind of the perspective of people that's infected because they go in and out of their infection, and you
Hmm.
can fight it in this story, but it really is not the easiest thing. So, but it was a good one. I watched that one a while back. Let's see, I should say running from the living. Yeah, running from the living. That's why One Bites was kind of like that because he was the zombie. You were like, seeing what he
Hmm.
was doing. He's like, walking around. That was pretty funny. Mind you, I did not watch that movie entirely. Yeah, I figured that out for that. What had happened was, there you go, the story about to start when you say that line. Someone thought it was a good idea to send me the Samuel clip without mentioning the shark. Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, that's just not nice at all, really.
Not nice at all. That's mean. Then I found out that my boyfriend LL was in there. That girl, you got too many men. Was in it, so I had to watch his part as well. So LL lived, so he had to run away from the shark a few times, but he lived. Hello, Vixen of Fiction. Thanks for popping in. Let's see. It's a chat jump. Just finished dinner. Yay. Hope you had something tasty. RC, I stopped watching The Walking Dead show after I finished reading the comics. Yeah, the comics are pretty good. Let's see. Oh, Nina. I'm also a fan of good vampire stories. Yes, here
Yeah.
too. When vampires are proper monsters. Yes, that's the type too. Like in the They Thirst by McCain and Salem's Lot by King. Yeah, Salem's
And
Lot. It's kind
30
of a
Days and Nights, another good one.
yeah, 30 Days and I was going to say that's a really good one if you like the vampires to be
Hmm.
the ferocious type. Um, but there are so many. Fine. I like the psychological horror with like Gaslight. Okay,
Hmm.
that's a good one. Talking to RC. A group slash horde roaming from place to place, eating their only predator. Yeah, I mean, technically, in more bias, it kind of was doing that. He was like, you get to see him. It's kind of funny though because it's like, oh, just walking around.
Oh, The Girl with All the Gifts was a great movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It really was from the zombie
Yeah. So I
perspective. It
don't
was.
know.
Yep,
I forgot that one. Good call.
yep. Good one there. I don't read much horror. I get scared. Well,
And this
and
is from
even get
Adrian living in
withdrawn.
Florida. I mean, come on. I'd be scared too, mate.
Mommy Max said it's weird to take it's a weird take because the infected are allowed to live with their families until they
Hmm.
turn. Yeah, that is like a thing for that. So one of the comedy ones, what's his name? The British actor. What the fuck is his name right now? I can't remember his name right now. He's like one of my favorite actors too. He's funny. Um, mm, but it's a comedy, so I think his friend at the end, he actually is a zombie, so he just like keeps him like, hey, don't try to bite me. Like, what are you doing? Like, the comedy was always funny. But I'm leaving it like, leaving a like because I love you guys. Thank you. Gonna play Zelda and chill for a bit. Yeah, always playing Zelda is always a good time.
Yeah.
I don't care for zombies. My favorite monster are vampires or werewolves. I could go either way. Some people not into zombie horror, but I like it. Yes.
Gators. Oh, good one. Yeah,
Let
another good
that one
movie.
in. Yeah, that's a
The
vampire.
original one's a good movie.
Yeah, honestly, what was the point of that?
Hmm.
They making the American one? Like it just came out. Y'all like y'all remaking something. Like
Hmm.
what are we
Yeah.
doing?
We'll
Stop.
just stick it out there. Yeah.
Like stop. Like stop doing stuff, please. Mama Maggie said, "Come on, then." I clicked it and it was like no. Also, there was a global feminine because the zombie infection was killing the grain crops. Oh, they were? I didn't know. So we submitted a fungal zombie disease. What the fuck? Really?
Mm,
That's an interesting take. I haven't seen anybody do
yeah.
that before.
Have they
Oh,
done
my boyfriend is a
a
zombie.
vegan zombie movie yet? Then.
That's pretty fun. My boyfriend's back. Yeah, my boyfriend's back. Simon Peck, thank you. Thank you, Simon Peck. Running into my tongue. Yeah, I love Simon Peck. The Shaun of the Dead, I love that series. I usually
That's
like
a great.
anything Simon
But
Pegg is in, really.
so is Paul. So
Right?
Paul's
Yep.
another guy, but not horror. But yeah.
Yep. I was knee deep in horror until unaware that it was horror too. So I had to finish it to know what happened, but I was so scared for the rest of the read and also inspired. Yeah,
How
yeah,
it
he gets you.
works.
Yeah, let the right one in was dope. Yeah. All right, so let's go on to our second topic for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Topic two. Topic two is, let me go to the comments and turn that off. Don't block it. Uh, when creating, this is for the writers, when creating the monster in your stories, what is the driving force behind the majority of your monsters? Anyone who's a writer who writes horror, let me know. Or your monster could also just be a person that's no good. Those two. So, what do you think, Colin? What is the driving force
Yeah,
behind your
I've been
monster?
thinking about this because strangely, not all my monsters are inhuman in any way,
Hmm.
shape, or form. Some are
Yeah, I
human.
write the serial killer guys too.
Yeah, so I've done that, but usually there is a greater evil and a purpose behind what they're doing,
Hmm.
and they're usually absolutely matter of fact about whatever they're doing because to them it
Right.
makes perfect logical sense.
Yep. Sounds
Yeah,
about right.
although everyone else in the entire universe may think this is completely off the chart, stupid or idiotic or murderous or
Right. They be
vicious,
like, "What are you
they
doing?"
don't. They don't.
Makes
They
sense to
just
me.
think this is part of what I'm doing and I'm enjoying it. It's a bit like serial killer mentality, really.
Yeah,
Psychopath.
when you get into their heads, yeah.
Mhm.
So
So, yeah,
it's
I
not too
think
far fetched from that.
driving force is usually a greater evil, though. Some
Yeah,
secret that we don't learn until later.
yeah, I like that. I like that. Good answer. I am very much, my monsters are very like the drive behind them is to devour and destroy.
Mhm.
The humans always need a reason. Definitely, when I write my human ones, they need a reason. Humans just need a reason, even if they are like in the psychological setting of maybe a serial killer. They don't necessarily have a reason, but even the humans that are not the serial killer will try to find a reason why this person would do it.
Mhm.
You know, even if they themselves don't, we will find a reason why. We'll say they're
Mhm.
psychologically gone, or we'll say this is wrong with them. So we have to find a reason because humans, we have to make sure that there's a reason. You
Mm.
know.
Yeah, I should have mentioned about. I mean, if I'm dealing with cosmic horror, which my steampunk did, and a
Yes.
couple of the shorter stories I have, uh, they don't have any reason
It's
because
not
they
their
don't
nature.
need a reason. They just
Right.
are. So
They
it's
just are.
usually their cultists, the neophytes, the people who follow them and worship them. It's them whose mind we're seeing inside them, and how they're interpreting things.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, twisting it.
I like that. So like when I with my other monsters, like if I do non-human monsters, it just could be their nature. I kind of give it off as like just like if we stepped on an ant
Hmm.
or an insect outside, we were just walking. You know. So it's kind of like that to my monsters.
Hmm.
It's not necessarily a care or thought behind it or was intentional to a degree. Even when it's intentional, it's unintentional.
Yeah, it's sort of
Because
like a
when you,
force of nature, an
yeah, it's a force of
entity. There's
nature.
nothing you can do. Yeah.
Be like a human may say, "Well, why are you doing this?"
Hmm.
There needs to be a reason. Like I don't know what you mean. Like I don't know what you mean. Do you need a reason when you eat dinner? You're
Hmm.
trying to live, right? You need to nourish yourself. So that's the same thing for a monster that eats.
Hmm.
It seems bad to you because they're a creature to you, but they're just a creature. They're just them to them, and you're food.
Yeah, it's just
So
food.
you're just food. Like I'm sure the chickens and the cows, once they realize what we're gonna do to them, I'm sure they also like we'll be monsters to them. So, but that's not
Hmm.
gonna stop us from eating them.
No,
I'm
certainly not going to
sorry,
stop me
but
anyway.
it's true. And even people who don't eat meat and they eat plants, are you that plant? Do you really know the life of a plant? It is alive. So when
Hmm.
you go and just chop its stalk off, you feel vindicated and good because you're saying it's not something that's alive that has a brain and lungs and all those things, but they do need water and to breathe the air. So how do you know what it feels like when you cut their stalk off and you chop them up? So you
Yeah,
can.
I can't imagine anything worse than having your stalk cut off. I really can't.
It
Really.
sounds terrible, doesn't it? It sounds
Yeah.
terrible. So, like, no matter which way we are, what type of human we are that we eat, we are
Hmm.
eating to survive. So, that monster, from its perspective, no matter how cruel it seems to us, no matter how gruesome it seems to us, is because we're two different beings surviving.
Hmm.
So, that's that concept of the monster and people, seeing the monster as evil. Anything is seen evil from when it's doing something to you. So
Yeah,
that's the
that's
general.
very true. And I mean, if it happens to be an enemy of your enemy and killing them, you're going to not really think it's such a monster after all. Just don't bring it into my back garden. That counts
Exactly.
for a lot of things. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the general my general consensus. I don't try to humanize my monsters. That's something I
Mm,
don't do in my writing. If it's a human, then it's a human. But when it's a monster or some being that I am not, and it's
mm,
not necessarily based off of myself, then I go above my thought process, but while using our thought process as a basis of
mm,
how we eat food and how we view things that are beneath us, even if we are people who don't believe that there are lots of different things beneath us and we try to see things on our level. At the end
mm,
of the day, as a human, we're going to drink water, we're going to eat something to nourish ourselves and to live and exist. So we have to, in order to do that, destroy something.
mm.
It is the
Yeah.
cycle of life.
Yeah,
So
I'm sort of thinking of the Super Bowl as a giant fruit bowl for Cthulhu. Just
yeah, it
reach
really
down, have a
is. It's,
snack. Yeah,
you know,
preferably after the,
that's
you
why I
know.
was like how the monsters came on, like the old show back in the day with the family, and they're
Hmm.
eating like crispy critters, and then they go like dig in the bowl and eat the things. So yeah, I always thought it was interesting, like how you write out monsters. That's why when people hear you write horror, they're like, like
Mm,
really, what's wrong with you? Like you gotta be a little demented sometimes in order to write these creatures, but that's okay too. I
mm.
laugh sometimes. I
Yeah, I
laugh
think.
sometimes, especially if I write a serial killer. I have a cannibal serial killer that I wrote, and
Mhm.
it's a short, and it's called Sprinkles because he likes sprinkles on his human parts that he eats, and his friends don't know he's a serial killer, you know, cannibal. He doesn't eat his friends, at least not right now. But like they were ordering pizza, and he's like, when they come over, he's like down in his special room in his basement, and he has like when they leave, like he's I'm gonna have like a Larry's leg or something like that, and he's like, I wonder how Jane would taste with these sprinkles, and he's obsessed with sprinkles. So I always thought it was kind of fun. I was laughing like he said a side of Jane, and my brother's looking at me like, what's wrong with you?
You're just sick. You're just not right. Yeah.
I'm like, he's supposed to be sick. He's a cannibal, you know. All right, let's check out the chat, see what everyone says here. Let's see if I can mark where I was. La la, Simon Bag. Okay, no, it's down below that. I think I was right here.
Mhm.
I forgot what I was talking about before. I said yes because I totally did misdirect the whole read, and bam, yeah, it will get you if you don't know it's coming. We can't talk about zombies without Pride and Prejudice to Zombies. Yeah, I heard about that. I did not watch it yet.
Fabulous movie.
I did
I
not
love
watch it
it.
yet, but I need to. It's an old one now. My monster is an interesting one. All I'll say is he's an extraordinary being masquerading as a normal human. That's
I'll
always
stick around for
fun.
my little read later then.
Yes,
I
yes,
think we
yes.
have something in common.
It's coming up real soon. Answer. They serve the rot. Everything that's negative and devour pure or whatever is around. They must feed the emptiness where a soul should be.
Oh, that's
Nice.
good. That's a good answer, I'll
Good.
see.
Like it. Don't want to spoil it. Yeah. Tried to watch it, then got scared, so I bailed. Oh, the private versus zombie she put. For the answer to it, the force behind my monsters slash mad dimming gods is hunger, the need to consume everything needs to eat. This is
Yep.
true. Okay, internet gremlins handled. I'm back. Yeah, that's good to handle them. They can get out of control. My favorite quote is I don't fear monsters of demons. I fear what real people do to real people.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
it
I've
was.
heard people say that all the time. And I'm like,
Hmm.
nah, I ain't scared of people. Like, I'll fight you. Like, you come for me as a person, I'm going to fight you back. And I could win. Like, just because you're
Hmm.
crazy, just because you have evil intent, is whoever wants to survive the most at that point. I'm going to fight you back. Like, if I got to go down, I'm taking a piece of you with me if you can beat me. That's just how it is. That's my mentality because we're both humans. We're on the same level in my mind. Even if you're stronger than me, I'm still going to fight you back because I know that I could take you out because your weaknesses are my weaknesses, physical.
Hmm.
So, but when it's a monster that is unexplainable and a monster that can do things that I couldn't possibly fathom, that's when I'm probably fucked. So, mean, I could be fucked either way, but I have a chance fighting against another human, so that's why I never do the fear human thing. But I watch the human horror. I call it. It's still fun to watch. A monster generally wants something and will do anything to get it achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may want something. It's very basic a lot of times, or just fun all around. Simply to survive. Our monsters are living on instinct and do not subscribe to how humans operate in any way. They are cows to them. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for a good unexplained evil. Yes, I prefer unexplained evil. I think everything doesn't need to be explained. I'm not here for the dictionary. Thank you.
Yeah.
What did you think of Bird Box Monsters?
I don't think I've seen that.
Bird Box, you mean with what's her name? Oh, I can't remember the names today. Um, Sandra Bullock. I think that was the one with Sandra Bullock, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she had her kids, and I think Bird Box was the one where they had to wear blindfolds
I think
when
I've
they went
seen a
out.
clip of it with her in a
I think,
boat.
yeah, they had to get in a boat because they're trying to get away at that point, and the creatures are kind of like they're invisible and or like they something to do with you seeing them. It's been forever since I looked at it, but it was man, it was alright. I wouldn't watch it again. If that was like, is there a lot of horror movies that I rewatch because I like have my horror fest and stuff, but I don't. That's not really one of them. I thought it was me. It's like when you get like when you got sometimes metaphor horror,
Mm-hmm.
I can take it or leave it. Like, one of the ones that some people really really like was It Follows. They like it because it's a metaphor horror because it was pretty much like I really don't want movies and shows to preach to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. Like I'm not there for that. If I go there for that, that's one thing. But when it's trying to do that with like my horror, I'm not really in the mood. So like It Follows was kind of a stipple like, don't fuck a lot of different people. Like don't go around fucking all these different people because you're gonna get an STD and the STD gonna come for you. So it was it was like that. So it was like a monster STD. So you
Mm-hmm.
passed it along, but you couldn't see it. Only the person who was infected could see it, but you, in order to not see the creature, whatever you imagine was chasing you and would get you and destroy you, then you had to have sex with someone else to pass it to them, and then you be good. Now, if you're,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like that 7 day thing with Samara. You had to make the copy of the tape thing until she decided that policy was no longer any good. I'm just going to kill everybody. You had to make a tape and get a copy and make sure someone else watched it. So that was for its evil to continue. So It
Mm-hmm.
Follows is kind of like that, but it's a metaphor for like the STD passing thing, but in a monster, like a supernatural monster form. So I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, I've watched It Follows. It's okay, but I wasn't. It's not a rewatch for me. So
Can't say I'd put it on. Just having heard
it's be
that.
like if you ever want to check it out, just because you want to see what the fuck the hoopla was about. But like, it's all right. But that's not like I would be like, yeah, look at
Yeah.
It Follows. Like it's like whatever. It's okay. Like
I
I
think one of
watch a lot of
my
horror
favourite
stuff.
ones would be Dog Soldiers. I think that's a wonderful
Dog
werewolf
Soldiers was
movie.
awesome. Such a good werewolf movie. You know how hard it is to find good werewolf movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like really hard. No one wants to ever write about werewolves. Like
Mm-hmm.
this and get movie films about that. So, but yeah, Dog Soldier is always one I recommend. I really liked that one. And Barrett said, "Me too. RC Cosmic spooks me the most. Yeah, it would because it's unexplainable. Can't beat them. Ever watch Bird Box? Alright. Tornadoes aren't evil, but people put evil intent into them. Yeah, because it destroys them. They can't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So they make it into, of course, those movies fall into horror because it's a horrible situation and horrible aspects. So can be classified under horror because it's like disaster horror, as
Mm-hmm.
they call it. So, but yeah, tornadoes can be scary because that type of thing that happens in our actual world, that would be scary because you can't do anything to it. Now we could up that as writers. You could take a tornado and make it into something else that humans don't understand even more so.
Yeah,
Humans figure they understand it.
sentient, something with
It
intelligence.
could. Yep. It could very well be. Like we don't know. Anything could be. A planet that we live on is alive, so we could go cosmic on that too, for that matter. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like anything we could turn that way because we don't necessarily understand all these things, or even with our science and everything, it's still our science at the end of the day. So we're using our intelligence to understand something that we couldn't possibly ever understand.
Mm-hmm.
So we're only speculating a lot of things. Like we can pretty much generalize what a tornado is because it's on our planet, blah blah blah. But as writers, we could transform those tornadoes to something otherworldly if we wanted to. So technically, it could be even made even more scarier at the end of the day. Really good. Barrett, I didn't read the book, but watched the movie of Bird Box. Yeah. I like the unexplained too, but a good alpha predator creature that's taking over the top of the food chain. Yeah, that's always good. A Quiet Place was much better, but I don't know if it's horror. I mean, it classified under horror, but
Is
it's
that the
more
one where
stuff.
they had to be quiet and those things were hunting like little dinosaur things?
Yeah,
Dinosaurs. Is
yeah,
that one? I
yeah. I
thought
believe
that
that's
was
the one.
quite good.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. So yeah, if I was gonna watch one that was like bad, I would probably watch that one. That one wasn't bad.
Mhm.
That's been a minute since I watched that one too. Stupid. Enter Key is a fave of mine. Ooh,
Excellent point from Barrett there.
oh, what did I miss? This my chat is like,
Having
oh,
just
it is my
watched
favorite.
yesterday evening
Oh
also
yes.
Bohemian Rhapsody for about the 20th time. Yes.
Oh yeah. I feel like my people barely survived that in the 80s and 90s. Oh. Let's see. It jumped a little bit. Yeah, it really jumped. You guys are going. You guys are on tonight. See my mag set. Plants infected with a disease or attacked by insects will warn other plants that will change to resist it.
There you go.
Yep, nature doesn't study morals like humans do. Facts. Nature's like,
Or doesn't invent them. Yeah.
yeah, because humans made all their problems.
Mhm.
Let's just say
Nice.
it. Humans
Nice
made all their
thoughts.
problems.
Oh, they did. Yeah, absolutely. Really
They
blind.
did. As soon as they made green money, as soon as they decided to dig up rupees and sapphires and diamonds out of the ground, the planet didn't need that. They
Mhm.
decided they were going to say, "Oh, this looks valuable, so let's trade it." Oh, you have more than me. Humans made their problems, so
Mhm.
they have nobody to blame
Yeah,
but themselves. Wherever they've come to, it's all them.
exactly.
Their whole society, the way they built it, all their fault. You have so many problems. You made them. We could have just lived here. Could have helped each other build things, ate, all those things. But no, we gotta have Smo Joe over there has to be better than Sam Till. Like,
And dear old Elon has to be better than us all. Yes.
I know, I gotta be richest man in the world. Like, okay. Like, richest man in the world with human made money.
Mhm. So there you go. And we're
Really
talking
though?
horror here tonight, folks, as you can tell, because that really
Exactly.
is a horror. Horror. You couldn't write.
Look, she laughing at me from
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
Yeah, I
Hey,
must
what?
admit,
He likes
Sprinkles
sprinkles.
is a
I like
great title.
sprinkles. He likes sprinkles. I thought it was a funny thing. That's why I called it sprinkles. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if serial killer seasoned his human parts with sprinkles? He's obsessed with sprinkles. Like he's not right in the head. Like he's not supposed to be. He's eating people. Hello. um, I have my serial killer villain showcased in one single POV chapter, and unlike the rest of the book, which is third person, his POV is first person, making the reader the killer. Yes, yes. Get in the
Mm.
head of the killer. Yep, that's it. Zombies, kind of. Question mark. Monsters don't scare me. I do not believe that a vampire is going to take me out. Humans are scarier to me, but they better come prepared to fight. Yes. People also all say that whenever I talk about that, they say, like, well, those things, vampire, I ain't got to worry about it. Vampire's not real. I'm like, or is it?
Yeah, exactly. How do you
Like,
know?
like anything can really exist. It makes us sleep better at night believing something doesn't exist. And you're like, well, I have never seen it. Like, okay. You didn't see your paycheck either until they gave it to you, but you believed it was coming. Like,
Yeah, it's just I've never seen $1,000,000, but I'm pretty sure it
so it
exists.
exists, right? So that's kind of like anything with like the supernaturals or those creatures and stuff like that. There's always some truth to something.
Mhm.
We may not understand what the truth may be, or if the things ever existed or how they existed. But in our little human world, you know how that all
Mhm.
goes. But we are going to move on to our segment of reading. So,
Oh joy.
time for story reading and critique. portion of the show. Colin, would you like me to pull the story up on the screen for
I've got it
everyone?
here. I've got it here on. Well, I can just pull it up on my screen and read it. Won't alter the
Okay,
camera or anything, will it? So
that works. Whichever way you want to do it. I'm
it's
cool with.
called.
I will
Uh,
give you full screen.
thank you very much.
And I will mute out Colin. Let me see about his what he wanted for his critiques to make sure I tell everybody so when they want to give their critiques
Thank you.
in the chat. 1 second. Colin said what he is looking for. This is an excerpt from a longer piece planned to be a novella. Does it work as a short story? Is the first thing he is looking for. Second thing is Dante, who is the character in the story, is not human. But I was trying to leave some doubt in the reader's mind about this, that he might just be delusional. Does this come across? So pay attention to that, please. And three, is the POV of this person slash creature interesting enough to hold the reader's interest? So pay attention to that as well. So keep those things in mind while Colin reads so
Mm-hmm.
that you can.
Shall I pull my page up now and start reading?
Yep, I will make it full screen. We're not going to put this story up on the screen. We're going to give the atmosphere to Colin. So
Right, we
full
are.
screen.
Death Dancer by Colin Clark. The birthday girl was still alive, barely, but the spark that remained would be adequate for his purposes. Wiping her blood from his hands on the remnants of her tattered bathrobe, Dante admired his handiwork. She hadn't seemed to enjoy her birthday, and that disappointed him. She'd wanted cards and gifts, a tangible sign that she existed, and he'd given her so much more. There really were no pleasing some people. She'd been more than obliging at the start, acquiescent, no doubt convinced that playing along would make her less of an object, wrest back a measure of control, help him think of her as a person. It would have been pitiful, could one feel pity towards such a thing. But even in his present form, Dante felt no pity, no empathy, no sympathy for these butterfly beings, fluttering through a finite existence with an overblown sense of self-importance, as though their futile little lives meant anything. True, they provided amusement of the strictly fleshy kind, and given the limitations of this plane, their blood was useful. But that's where it ended. Had this birthday girl but known how little her kind mattered in the scheme of things, perhaps she'd have put up more of a fight. Humans were pathetic. Apes labeling themselves sentient because they'd covered their bodies and learned how to think, to speak, thinking little thoughts, speaking little words, both producing big questions, questions with not an answer to be found, seeking all, accepting nothing, locked, flesh bound in a macrocosm of their own design, incapable of seeing, let alone accepting the simple, inescapable truth of their tedious existence, that they were nothing more than insects, swarming through every part of the fabric, drawn to the flame of knowledge like moths to candlelight, and like moths, the flame would destroy them. He told her this when he stopped the physical foreplay and moved into work, sensing no gratitude, no understanding in her silent screams, no appreciation as he revealed the layers of existence while removing the layers of her skin. No understanding, no appreciation, just a familiar question in her now lidless eyes, a qualifying question, the question he'd seen and heard so many times before. Patiently, hands busying themselves with her meat, using her blood to shift and deliver the message to the man already 100 miles away, he tried to explain how privileged she was, how so few of her kind were chosen to know the answer to that very question, the one that vibrated through her quivering flesh and flashed in dying eyes, even as he added a little message of his own to the one he'd been ordered to deliver. Even as he felt a sense of loss sweep back through the ether, still he heard the dying girl's question, could almost see the words in her eyes. Why me? I'm not a bad person. He told her about bad things and how bad things didn't just happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. Bad people, sad people, young, old, timid, bold, the quiet, the loud, humble and proud. Rhyme, but no reason. It didn't matter. It happened because it could, because the bad thing was what it was, did what it did, and the bad thing was him. Today was the anniversary of her birth, and not since the day she'd been pushed blood slick from the womb had she been closer to understanding how small a part she played in the fabric's twisted weave. Full circle, ending her short, pointless little life as she'd begun it, naked, slick with blood, understanding but a glimmer even as she floated on the horizon of her death. Kneeling beside her head, he ran his fingers tenderly through her matted hair, lifting damp strands away from her face to stare into her eyes. He nodded, seeing a dying glow of awareness within the flicker that remained. Nearly done, he said. How about a birthday kiss? A trembling spasm vibrated through her body as he smiled, lowering his face to hers, tongue tracing a sticky line along the blooded muscle of her cheek, licking gently at flayed flesh before covering her mouth with his, tongue coiling and twisting around hers, tasting death, savouring it. Then he leaned back. He breathed a satisfied sigh. Just think, he said, no more lonely birthdays. Licking a droplet of the girl's blood from his top lip, he closed his eyes and assumed his true form to feed. Ta-da!
Very nice.
Second.
Very good. Love it.
Yeah, but-
So I was so into this when I was reading it because it's like monster poetry. Like it was like monster poetry. Love the wording. Very good. Like and getting in the head of this being or whoever he is, even from the third person perspective, was very good. Like I like the perspective, honestly,
Mhm.
that you used in it.
Yeah.
So it kind of keeps you on the outside and kind of gets you on the inside for some reason. The way it's worded, everything. So I really loved that. I did have some notes. So I'll let everybody comment in the chats while I pull up mine. I answered to your first question about that about being if it could be a short story or is planned to be a novella. If it's only this, I would say if it was only this by itself, I would say flash fiction, short story. Yes, it can go either way.
Mhm.
Um, the length probably be closer to flash fiction, but it still could be on the short story because it's really kind of up to us these days, as far as that's concerned. But
Mhm.
yeah, it could definitely stand alone. So, because with horror, we don't need any other details besides what you gave us. So it was enough to like draw you in. You want to know like what he is, but you're not going to know. But this is the
Mhm.
sweet part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yes, if you wanted this to be by itself, it could definitely. But it also
Right.
could be more. You know what I mean? So that's the sweet part about that.
Mhm.
And two, he could be just a killer or he another type of being. So both could be true, which works out really well. Um, so it could be in his mind, like you said, it could be psychological
Mhm.
that he does that, or he could be something else. You left it where we could take either way we would like. You know what I mean? So I like it from that perspective that he could be something else, even with the whole changing into his old form. When you psychologically gone, you can also imagine that you're doing that. You know what I mean? So
Good.
it could work either way. Whatever way you say it is, that's the way it is. It's kind of like a painting. When an artist does a painting, the artist visualizes what this painting shows to him, and then someone else comes up and they say like, "Oh well, I see this. Like, okay, it's open for interpretation, but this is what the artist saw, so this is what it is. But you're allowed to interpret however you
Mhm.
wish." So, and to the third one where you said about the POV from the person says creatures interested enough to hold the reader's interest, yes. So was not any problem with that whatsoever. So kudos to you.
Very
Good
good.
job on all of
Thank you
that.
very much.
Yeah. I was very intrigued. I loved it. Plotting at the end. Let's see what everyone said. They love this line. Pushing blood slicked from the womb. I loved it. It was very
Cheers,
nice.
RC.
Yes. After I said Colin Clark, the word master.
Merci.
But she's like, yikes. Yeah. That's what you want. He would go like yikes at the end of the story. So
Yep.
good. I know, right? It was perfectly put. Monster poetry. Yes. I felt it. Anime buff. Okay. And for that said monster poetry, like eat a
See, now that isn't. Thank you very much for that
Yes, I
name.
love Edgar
One of
Allan
my
Poe.
favorites. I've got my complete
Yes,
collection up there. Yes.
I'm so like I make people jealous. I'm like I live in the same state as him, and Baltimore was his city. Darkly excellent. Yes, yes, very
In
much.
here.
It was eerily good. Yes, that was good, Colin. No, of course it was. That was awesome, Colin. Love that. Yes. I yammer on too long for flash fiction. Damn you, Stephen King.
It worked for Stephen King.
Hey, he did actually some of Stephen King's best work is his short stuff. Like he had really short stuff. Silver Bullet was a short story. It was just like a
Yeah, and
poem.
I also love
Short
that's the movie I like as well, Silver Bullet.
Right. So look
Hmm.
what came from that. Like somebody made a movie, like a whole freaking film, like an hour and a half film from just a little bit of words like that he made. It wasn't even a
Hmm.
whole short story like we go with the short story length and stuff. It wasn't even that. So with horror, you can make so much out of so little. It's
He also, he
amazing.
didn't he write one about a laundry, a machine in the laundry. I'm sure he
Yeah,
wrote
I
a
believe so.
short
Yeah.
story. Yeah, I
Yes.
think he wrote a
He
short
has
story
so
about that
many
as
short
well.
because he said he survived for a while writing shorts and being in magazines, like writing his short little horrors and flash horrors and magazines for a long time.
Hmm.
So he became the big known Stephen King we know him today. So yes, so it was great. Want to raise the bottom? Probably why I write dark. Hey, that's probably why because Edgar Allan Poe's from here.
Hmm.
So that's why. So it's good. You're good to go on that call. And you got great
Yep, the
feedback.
mangler. That was it. Thanks, RC.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Mangler. That's right. So yeah, Stephen King wrote a lot of good stuff. I like when he
Hmm.
was in, like he would be in all his
Hmm. Yeah,
be in the films. He's like like one with the husband and the wife, and then the meteor. The
oh,
well, that's a different
the
one.
color out of
He's
space. Is that
yeah,
the
like
one?
he was in his house, and it was his part. Like he played the part of the guy, the farmer, and then the meteor piece falls, and he like goes outside. What is that? Like
Mm.
he's like kind of like he don't understand stuff, and he was touching. And he put his fingers in his mouth, and he was like touching stuff. He had like growing the moss all over his body,
That's it.
and
He
then he
goes all green, doesn't
yeah,
he?
he goes
Yes.
green. He ends up in the tub, and he's like, "Please, God, just this once," and like pulls the trigger with the shotgun, like bam. So yeah, he got a lot of shorts. That was really good. So, but yes, so good freaking story. So, Colin, this is your moment to shine. And let
Mhm.
us know what you have coming up, what you are working on, what you may be doing on your YouTube channel, what you standardly have scheduled on your YouTube channel that we should all know about so we can be there. I'm going to give you full screen so you can tell us about
Oh,
all
thank
the
you. As if
things.
everybody needs that this time of night. Thank you very much. Yeah. As for what I'm doing on my AuthorTube channel, I'm taking at least a 2-month break after tonight. This is my final appearance
Holiday!
before I go on sabbatical. I'm working while I'm taking my little rest. I'm going to be working on the horror short stories. I'm also going to be working on that one I read tonight because, to be honest, it already is longer than that now. And yeah, I decided it needed to be more. And I'll be working on Chimers, which is the middle grade dark fantasy that I will put out to try and find, what do they call it? Querying. That's what I'll be doing.
Yes,
But there is tons of
pretty.
content on my channel, The Writer's Files, that you can still catch up on. Series on writing steampunk, for instance. And I will be back after a couple of months and with new content and more energy, perhaps. But yeah, I'll be writing. I will, of course, be popping into streams and chats, but I won't be on or creating any content. So yeah, that's it from me. This is my goodbye tour today for a couple of months.
So Colin's going to be taking a much needed break and rest, I'm sure, well deserved. He has plenty of content on his channel that you can check out. His links are below, so you can check out his stuff and just fill up on Colin while he's away. And then he'll have new content for you when he returns. We all
Yeah,
need a break sometimes, no
I think you
lies.
should, should be full up after about all the first half video, and then I'll keep you going for a couple of months.
That's right. He has to work on all that awesome horror to put out for us so we can get
Hmm.
a taste of
That's the idea.
monster poetry. So we'll be looking forward to that tale. I am very interested to see where it goes. It sounds amazing. It's all your stuff I've ever read. I really enjoyed. So
Thank
no
you.
problems there. I really
And
love it.
thank you for inviting me on this evening because it's been
Of
a
course.
total pleasure.
course, always fun to have you, Colin. Always good to see you and hear your story, to hear you read. I really did enjoy the story that you did the audio for. That was really
Hmm.
good. Just to listen to you read is like, oh, it's so good. Like Colin, like when he get going, man, it's over. Watch out. And I love your tales that have all the cursing in it. Like I love it. Like it's just so good. I'm like, yes, okay, I'm here for it. Let's go. So, but yes, so I don't know about CGL for July currently. I'm still waiting for someone to sign up for that slot because, as I these our horror writers, us horror writers, sometimes we're a little afraid to get in the limelight for people to see us, to hear our stories. But if you are a horror writer and you happen to come across my channel and you're interested in being on CGL, you see how it works at this point. You can always go back and watch some previous episodes if you did not catch tonight's episode. And it's a really basic laid back structure, and you get to
Hmm.
get some people to hear your stuff. The whole point of CGL horror is to get horror writers in front of more people so that you
Yep.
see all the amazing writers that are out there who may not be known yet. Okay, and mine is notice I said yet because one day they will, and you're like, I could have been chilling with that person. Now they're big time. They don't have time for me anymore. So, so you should get in on that. If I see someone sign up, then you probably most likely can make it on the show. So if you not, then I'll do something with it. If I don't get enough signups coming up over the next couple of months, then I will be transitioning CGL horror into a horror talk show. So
Hmm.
that either way, we're going to be keep talking horror over here, nonetheless. So I'm sure that'll be fun to get some people on here scary. Maybe I can get Aphrodite on the talk show horror show this week and scare her the whole time. That would be so much fun to watch. I'm sure that would be so much fun. But anyway, you know who I am, author Dale Tiller, the Mistress of Horror, and we talk about all things horror over here. I like to have a podcast once a month where I talk about all my woes and not so woes as a writer and author. Also, I like to talk about what I have coming out. Currently, I have Fractals coming out solo on Amazon on July 26th. If you pre order the ebook version of Fractals, which is only 99¢, you can get a possible free package from moi. If you are outside of the US, then I will send you a digital package. I like to give people stuff if they're going to pre order my stuff and support me as an author. Indie authors, we need all the pre orders we can get. Okay.
Yep.
So do check that out if you're into the scary kind of stuff. And check out Room Within if you haven't read it. And I have a whole bunch of other scary and non scary things coming out very, very soon. So keep a lookout. You can get any of the links below for any of the stuff I have going on. And make sure you, again, subscribe to Colin if you're not. If you don't, and you already are subscribed to him, I don't know what you're doing with your life, okay? So get to it and get your life in order, all right? And we will see you next time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for CGL Horror for June. And I hope to see you at CGL Horror July. Good night and stay scared.